Some people, sports is everything. The grind, the teammates that feel like another family, the obsession with going all the way. That question in your head every time it gets hard. What is your why? Why am I doing this for? My dream, my family, or just a feeling? Growing up for me, sports has always been fun to me. It was fun because it was competitive, especially football. There's no better feeling than scoring a touchdown and turning it with your team. That's exactly how I felt reading Eyeshield 21. This is the first sports manga I've ever read, and it did everything I wanted it to do. Exceeded my expectations. Simply nothing less than a 10 out of 10. Watching the worst football club, only starting with 3 members, climb their way all the way up, beat powerhouse teams, face adversity, have those game-breaking moments, and finally reaching their goal, the Christmas Bowl. Seeing everyone's hard work pay off was so satisfying, in a way only sports stories can do. Let's take a look at the team that changed everything, the Damon Devil Bats. Let's start with our main character, Sena. Sena starts off as a timid pushover, fast but scary. At first, he's terrified to even be on the field, but football forces him to grow. Every opponent makes him braver. Every game makes him more sure of himself. And once he starts accepting competition instead of running from it, he starts learning who he really is. When he finally reveals his identity, you can feel how much he's changed. He goes from hiding to being proud. Sena is the engine of the team. He's a running back with extreme speed. He turns nothing into a touchdown. He represents growth through repeated action. I relate to that heavy, being nervous to do new things at first. But sometimes you realize the only cure is taking action. Monta's pure energy and pure hunger. At first, his dream is baseball because of his role model Hanjo. So he trains catching nonstop, day and night, until he becomes crazy at it. But he lacks everything else baseball needs. Then Sena recruits him, and football becomes his perfect lane. Now he's not just a guy that can catch. He's trying to become the best receiver. He becomes the star receiver of Damon. He represents hunger and obsession used the right way. If you lock in on one thing and don't stop, it's only a matter of time before you level up. Kurita's love for football goes back when he was a kid. His dream was always to reach the Christmas Bowl. He even tried to join a powerhouse like the Shinryuji Nagas, but he got denied. So he makes his own football club from nothing. No funding, no team, no support, just belief. Himura helps him build it up, but Kurita is the most dedicated on Damon. He doesn't even play for himself. He plays to protect everyone else. Nobody's touching his quarterback. That's why he feels like the true shield of the team. Himura is cunning, vulgar, and goal-oriented. He'll do whatever he has to do to win. Schemes, mind games, blackmail, whatever works. But the biggest thing is his mindset. Even when Damon is down bad, to him it's not over until it's over. He's always evolving and always adapting. On the field, he's basically the coach. He got into football as a kid watching it on American base, even betting on the games to make money. Later, that hustle becomes how he funds the team and forces Damon into reality. He represents the brain and the system. He turns talent into a machine, willpower, belief. Some people win because they refuse to lose mentally first. Kamusubi is a very undersized lineman. He's 4'11", but he plays O-line. He plays with pure will. He's great in human form. Proof effort can compete with size. Masashi is calm, cool-tempered, dependable, nicknamed after Masashi Miyamoto. He is one of the 3 founding members with Himura and Kurita. He joined, but he had to quit to support his dad. But he eventually comes back as a kicker. Jumanji is the pride plus loyalty. Karaki is fire. Tugano is cool head. As a trio, they're a unit, built on brotherhood and refusing to leave each other behind. They make up the rest of the O-line. Yukimitsu is disciplined and studious, polite, earnest, but quietly insecure because he isn't naturally athletic. He feels left out deeply, so he slips into self-pity when he works hard, but still doesn't get to contribute. But once he commits, he keeps grinding through embarrassment and exhaustion, using sharp memory and analytical mindset to compensate for his limits. The bench becomes part of his growth, while other people are getting reps. Yukimitsu is studying formations and tendencies, learning how the game works. That's why when he finally gets his chance, he isn't happy to be there. He's prepared. He's become a great receiver without being the fastest or the strongest. He wins with IQ, angles, positioning, and reading the defense. Last but not least, Taki. Personality-wise, he's clueless, kind of an idiot, and a show-off, but he's also good-hearted. Even though he's brainless, sometimes he's useful. He gives Damon versatility at the tight end, blocking, catching, making clutch plays. Once you understand Damon, their opponents hit way harder, because every loss is basically a lesson they couldn't learn any other way. Before the main story even starts, Damon plays against the White Knights, one of the powerhouses of the Kanto region, and they get destroyed. It was back when it was just Haruma, Kurita, and Musashi. They got embarrassed 99-0. But the score isn't the point. It's what Haruma says after. He warned Shin that one day he would bring him a running back with light speed. Eyeshield 21. Shin swore when that day comes, he will crush him. The humiliation was the cost, but the promise was the seed. The Daemon Bastards came off a victory beating the Cupids 6-3. Sena scores his first touchdown. They finally tasted victory. Then they play against the Oho White Knights. It reminds him what the top looks like. Shin, the best linebacker in Japan. Good speed, good strength, overall perfect player. Sena and Shin show each other something both. Sena shows Shin there is levels to speed, and Shin shows Sena there's levels to football. Damon gets kicked out the spring tournament in the second round. After the match, Sena cries, not because he's weak, but because football actually mattered to him. That's where being fast stops being enough. Damon gets an opportunity to play an American team. It's close, until Panther steps in. He's a whole different tier, unmatched speed, crazy athleticism. Nobody on Damon can match him, but he can match anybody on Damon. Sena scores late. They're down by 1. Damon has a fatal weakness. They have no kicker. They go for 2 and lose. Heart and talent still aren't the same as being complete. Damon looks legit now. Death march complete. Musashi is back. They just recruited Taki the tight end. Then they meet Saibu. Maybe the strongest offense in the region. Saibu as kid, the best quarterback. Tsuma, a top physical receiver. Riku, an elite shifty running back, and Sena's childhood friend. The game is a shootout. Haruma versus Kid is chess with bullets. Sena versus Riku is speed versus speed. Manta versus Tetsuma's pride. And the crazy part, Damon was down 29-9, and they still came back. But it comes down to an onside kick. They don't recover it. And they lose 44-42. The comeback proves they got real fight. The ending teaches you the next step. You have to close. And once you learn how to close, you start climbing for real. After beating Bando for a spot in the Kanto tournament, Damon finally steps into the real world. First round, they have to play against the Shinruji Nagas, a team that's won the Kanto tournament 9 times in a row. The most talented, undefeated. They're called the Gods of Kanto. They have Agon, a naturally talented player with strength, speed, and godlike reflexes. He can play any position on the field, a true ace. They also have Ekyu, a good receiver with an even talented corner, regarded as the best corner in Kanto region. Also have a great quarterback, Unsui, Agon's brother. Works hard and is extremely accurate. Agon can't be stopped, and he stops Sena with ease. Ekyu locks up Manta with ease, even picking the ball from him. Damon goes down 32-0. It looks over. Hemi refuses. He puts in Yukimitsu for the first time. The first play, a deep ball. His first pass ever. He has Agon and Ekyu on him, and he makes the catch, flipping the momentum completely. Damon fights back with blitzes and schemes. Sena evolving past speed using physicality. Manta finally beating Ekyu and catching. Last seconds. 35-34. They go for two, and they hit it. 36-35. Like Ric Flair said, to be the man, you gotta beat the man. Damon proved it. They can face the next level. The Ojo White Knights are structure, discipline, and defense. A defense-oriented team who believes championships is won by defense. Most of their defense is on the Tokyo Best 11. Shin, the most powerful linebacker. Now he plays offense in the ballista formation. Sakurawa, a tall, gifted receiver with unmatchable catch radius. The Kami's timing with the Everest pass, only putting it where receivers can get it. Makoto and Akari bring pressure. It's a back-and-forth game. The best offense versus the best defense. Monta creates the devil backfire. Hummer uses DB blitzes to force the safety. Shin scores with 1 second left. Damon gets the kickoff. Sena goes one-on-one with Shin, and he wins it. 42-40. You respect the defense, but you can't stare at it. You acknowledge it, but then you see past it. Keep moving forward anyway. Hakusho Dinosaurs play a very specific game. Smash mouth, very aggressive game. Using Gao, the strongest high schooler, and their quarterback Marco, who was a genius both on offense and defense. Hermer eventually gets injured by Gao. Damon falls behind 32-7. It gets ugly, but they find hope through the middle. Kurita versus Gao. Sena creates his own quarterback style. Hiruma comes back injured. Dragonfly formation. Sena trucks Marco. They go for two. Kurita pancakes Gao, and Hiruma runs it in. They earn their ticket. Hakusho had the strength, but Damon had the will, an abominable one. Where did strength really come from? That's what mattered most. Always remember your why. The ticket isn't a trophy. It just means you earned the right to stand on the biggest stage. Kings of the West versus the Kings of the East. And Damon prepares like it's a war. Everyone chains under Kanto's aces. Shin, Gao, Ekyu, Tatsuma, Akabi, Riku. Everyone is sharpening them for one final match. Because Teikoku is perfect on paper. They've never called a timeout. They've never trailed. Teams couldn't even score on them this season. And their stars are unstained. Yamato, the real Eyeshield 21. Karen, the accurate quarterback. Taka Hanjo, the elite receiver and DB with unreal hops. And Monta's personal nightmare. Tenma, the sideline magician. Early on, Teikoku erases them, 35-0. Taka picks off Hiruma. Yamato shuts down Sena. And Tenma adds chaos. Damon can't breathe. Then they crack it. Monta beats Taka on a stop and go. Sena gets a pick six and a safety. Happens off pressure. Yukimitsu scores. Sena evolves again and moves in the fourth dimension. Damon steals an onside kick. And it comes down to one moment. Musashi hits a 60-yarder. 45-44. Being perfect is an illusion. There's always the next level. So don't believe in the noise. Being is everything. And that's that. Christmas Bowl champions. They really completed it. All the training, losses, embarrassment, and pain. It paid off for this moment. Sena thinks back from the beginning, how he was scared, how small he felt. Football gave him courage. Game by game, rival by rival. He became who he needed to be. And the crazy part, Sena made Hiruma's Eyeshield 2-1 real. He turned a lie into reality. Then Sena and Monta set new goals. College first, then eventually the NFL. Because even after winning it all, they're still chasing. Everything mattered. The journey was a real prize. And that's why the win tasted so sweet. And that's the real message behind the whole series. Try new things, you never know what could happen. Sena joined the football club, changed his whole life. Courage, friends, direction. There's always a chance, so never give up. Damon goes down, adapts, and comes back stronger. Hard work really does pay off. They started off as the worst team, then stacked days, hours, reps, until they surpassed everybody in front of them. Believe in your dream, even when you can't see it yet. They talked about the Christmas Bowl from the beginning, and they put action toward it. till it became real. Eyeshield 21 is more than football highlights. It's a story about becoming, about taking a scared kid, a terrible club, an impossible dream, and forcing it into reality, one rep at a time. Damon didn't win because they were destined. They won because they kept showing up, they kept evolving, they kept believing. The scoreboard doesn't decide who you are, your effort does. And that's why victory is so sweet.